Alrighty. All praise to the Most High. Oh, yeah, about you now, shine. Alrighty. So, our foundational precept, we got First Corinthians 15 and verse 58. It reads, Therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. All right. So, we want to always make sure that we're always pressing towards the mark, doing everything we can to stay rooted in Yahweh Shemel Shai, being unmovable through our afflictions, the things that we go through, day-to-day trials, spirits that we may struggle with. We just got to keep pressing forward. Remember that this captivity isn't forever and that Yahweh Shai is coming back to redeem us, but only those that endure until the end. So let's get our psalm for the Sabbath day. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 92, and verse 1, a psalm or song for the Sabbath day. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning and thy faithfulness every night. Upon an instrument of 10 strings and upon the psaltery, upon the harp with a solemn sound. For thou, Lord, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the works of thy hands. O Lord, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth a fool understand this. When the wicked spring as the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Lord, art most high forevermore. For lo, thine enemies, O Lord, for lo, thine enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shalt thou exalt like the horn of an unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eye also shall see my desire on mine enemies, and mine ears shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree, he shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age, they shall be fat and flourishing to show that the Lord is upright. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. Come, all praise the Most High. So, today we're going to be talking about how all things take time. All things take time, and just a little backstory how this got put on my spirit through the Most High. I was talking to a sister and we were just reflecting on, different relationships, different bonds that you might have with sisters, might be different with other sisters, or you might see that, these two sisters, they might be really close, but you might not have that yet, or you might not feel like you belong, or, you know, even in a sense of your marriage, you might feel like your marriage could be stronger, or you feel like it could look like this, but it doesn't look like that. And you could be thinking about how, dang, I've been in this truth for X amount of time, and, I haven't grown as much as I thought I would at this point. All these different things. But the main focus of this call is going to be, we don't want to compare what we have to where or what others have, or how other people handle things, or any of those type of things, how people have a bond with this person, or how they're moving in the spirit. We don't want to compare. Of course, there's nothing wrong to be inspired by somebody's, oh dang, they have a beautiful marriage, or dang, they have a beautiful sisterhood, or dang, they got a nice bond, or dang, they be doing their thing through the spirit, doing things for the congregation, the nation, whatever the case may be. We want to make sure that we are knowing in our minds that we can be inspired, but we don't want to compare, because we know that comparison is the thief of joy. I say that all the time. But, we want to make sure that we are patience with ourselves, because all things take time, and you never know what somebody had to do to get to where they're at. You never know what that certain marriage had to endure to get to that point that they're at, or what that those two sisters or that group of sisters, whatever they had to go through to get to where they are now. You just don't want to compare. Everybody's walking this thing is so unique. Everybody has a different background. Everybody has a different upbringing, and it's true. Everybody has different experiences and will experience different things. They will run into different people, different elders, different sisters, you know, different people through all walks of life, and even on another tip of, you know, being patient with your family as well. Because some of us, got family in the truth. Some of us don't got any family in the truth. Some people may have like a few coming around, and we want to be patient with those people too, as well as, our people who haven't come around yet, because you just never know what the Most High is doing. You never know what the Most High is doing. He could be doing a great work in somebody, but it's just hasn't came to the surface yet, because it's just not the Most High's timing yet. But we just gotta continue to just pray and make sure that we're having a good spirit towards people in general. Not backbiting, or speaking down on somebody, or whatever the case may be. We want to make sure that we're, not in a spirit of covetousness. Dang, well, they got this going on. Why can't I have that going on? I've been in X amount of time and I don't have this life that I thought I would have at this point. We don't want to go through that rabbit hole. That's not profitable for us. And let me get this precept. This is Ecclesiastes 3:1. It reads, "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven." And when you read on down, um, in Ecclesiastes 3, it goes through all the things, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, a time to build up, a time to weep, to laugh, a time to mourn, to dance. And that is something that is a prevalent thing in this walk. You're going to go through seasons. You're going to go through seasons where, it's going to be a lot of joy. It's going to be good. You might have your bills paid. You might be having a lot of fun, taking trips. You might be doing this, that. You're on fire for the Lord. You got this, and this going on. Might just got married. You're doing good through spirit. All these things could be happening. And then it might be a time where it's really hard. It's going to be times where it's really hard. You might be getting attacked spiritually. You might be getting attacked financially, physically, whatever the case may be. Your health might be compromised, whatever the case may be. But to everything, there's a season. And we don't want to compare what other people have going on to what we have going on. Because then we start to get ungrateful. The spirit of ungratefulness can kick in, and now you're not grateful for what the Most High has done in our lives. Now we're looking in somebody else's plate. Now we're seeing what everybody else got going on, and we don't want to do that, because then, Lord forbid, we're so focused on what other people have going on. Now, you know, the Most High, He can very well just take everything away. So you want what they got so bad, or either that, or like I was saying in the previous point, you never know what people have gone through. You never know what people have gone through to get to where they are, whether it be in their marriage, whether it be in a sisterhood, a bond, or in a congregation, or just in this walk in general. And now the most I give you over to that. Whole time you weren't even equipped for what that person had to endure through to get to where they're at. So we just have to be grateful and appreciate where the Most High has us, and know that all things take time. It takes time to, build these bonds, build up a good marriage, build up a good sisterhood, build up, yourself in this walk. All those things take time. So, sisters, we might see on social media, you might see a certain, congregation, dang, they got this going on, or dang, this sister got that going on. Dang, look at this marriage, whatever. Or even in real life, you're seeing some things taking place, and you're like, dang, that would really be nice. But you don't want to compare it again, because things take time. And even growing and bumping heads with each other, because everything isn't perfect. Everything isn't perfect. Even, all of us are married. You bump heads with your husband. Those growing pains, they take time. They take time. When you're building a bond with, a sister, even in, a basic level within your family. If you got siblings, you bump heads with your siblings, you bump heads with your mama, your daddy, you know, every relationship, every bond is gonna take time. Take time to develop. It's gonna take time to go through things. You gotta grow through things, bump heads, get up, reconcile. All those things play a part, and it strengthens the bond over time. So let me get this in Romans 5. This is Romans 5, and I'm gonna start at verse 3, and I'm gonna go to 4. Yeah. It reads, "And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience, and patience experience, and experience hope." I'll get 5 too. "And hope maketh not ashamed, because the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Ghost, which is given unto us." So we have to glory in the tribulations. We have to glory in the bumping heads, the disagreements. Oh, you offended me. Oh, I offended you. Okay. All these things build and help grow a bond through the spirit. So we got to make sure that we're making sure that, we're having patience with not only others, but ourselves, because we were coming out of the world, we're renewing our mind day after day, we're going through things that we probably never expected to go through. So we have to have patience with others. We have to have patience with ourselves, just like the Most High has had patience with us, watching us go through the world, breaking commandments, breaking these laws. He's had patience with it. He has mercy on us. He gave us grace. Hold on one second. So I feel. But we want to be able to have patience, have mercy, give grace to others and ourselves again, because that's what the Most High showed us. And if we say that, we're the true Christians, we're Christ-like, we got the, spirit of the Most High within us, then we have to literally move in the spirit of the Most High, having grace, having mercy, being patient, being long-suffering. That's one of the fruits of the spirit. We got to be long-suffering, so we got to be able to suffer through, the rough patches, suffer through, the disagreements, the, you know, trying to get on one accord, trying to build something. It doesn't seem like it's working. Okay, let's try this, let's try that. But you don't want to give up on not only yourself, but you don't want to give up on others in this walk, because you never know. You just never know what the Most High is doing, and it could grow into something that is truly beautiful. And just like us, we're going through the spirit. We're growing into being the women that the Most High has called us to be, keeping these laws, statutes, commandments. Raising up our children in this truth. All these things are beautiful things that take time, that take learning, that take growing pains, trial and error. It's all a part of this walk. So, I want to get this article for you guys really quick. Let me share my screen. Excuse my littles in the back. Okay. All right. Can y'all see my screen? Yes. No. Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. All praise the Most High. Okay. So I found this article. I'm just gonna skim through it a little bit, but it says strengthening bonds, the key to meaningful relationships, the importance of building strong bonds. Building strong bonds with others is a fundamental aspect of human relationships, whether it's with family, friends, or colleagues. The connections we form have a profound impact on our well being and happiness. One of the key benefits of bonding with others is the sense of belonging it creates. When we feel connected to those around us, we are more likely to experience feelings of security and support. And we can always refer back to Ecclesiastes 4 and 9. We all know that one. That's two is better than one. But we know these articles, these people, these scientists, they get all this stuff from the Bible. They get it from the Bible. The Most High created it first. He knew that we do better in pairs. We do better together. We do better when we feel that sense of belonging, when we have that support, when we have that sense of security. It impacts our well-being and our happiness. And it could be a positive impact, and it could be a negative impact too. Because all company isn't good company either. Sometimes you might be, having a strong bond with somebody, but it's a negative bond. Just like, some people, they got a strong bond with Satan. That is not a positive bond, but it's still a profound impact nonetheless. So, same thing on the right hand side, that strong bond can really help you to continue going a little further in this truth. It can help boost you through the spirit, help you to be encouraged, have that iron sharpening iron, all those things are important and they are very impactful. Let's get Ecclesiastes 4 and 9. It reads, two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. Give me 1 second. Block it. Okay. Let's keep on going. Block it. Okay. Reading on. So we just read Ecclesiastes 4, 9, and we stopped at 12. So we know that the Most High is saying right here that two is better than one, and they have a good reward for their labor because you have somebody again that can hold you accountable. They can help you increase in this thing. Y'all can learn from each other. Y'all can have support. Y'all can help each other through the spirit. So going back to this article, reads, I think we stop right here. This can help boost our self esteem and confidence, knowing that we have people in our corner who care about us. Strong bonds also play a crucial role in our mental and emotional health. Having someone to confide in during times of stress or difficulty can provide much needed comfort and perspective. It can also help reduce feelings of loneliness and isolation, which are known to have negative effects on both physical and mental health. And I want to get the scripture. I want to get the scripture because it just reminded me of this in Sirach. Hold on, let me find it. Okay, this is Sirach chapter 30 and verse 23. It reads, love thine own soul and comfort thy heart. Remove sorrow from thee, for sorrow hath killed many, and there is no profit therein. So you got to love your own soul. You got to comfort your heart and remove sorrow far from you. And it helps if you can come to somebody, cast your burdens on the Lord, and to cast your burdens on, your husband, sister, these bonds that we're talking about, these strong bonds. Because again, just like the article said, it can help reduce feelings of loneliness, that's sorrow, those things have a negative effect on the mental. It said it right there in the scripture, on your mental health and your physical health. It says, sorrow hath killed many, and there's no profit therein. So, we don't gain anything positive when we isolate ourselves. We're saying, okay, well, I don't want to tell anybody, or I don't want to burden anybody with what I have going on. I don't even want to try. And, also just knowing that it takes two. It takes two. And you can't just expect, you know, people to just know what we got going on, know what's on our mind. Nobody's a mind reader. If you want to have help in any sense, whether it be, help with, finding the spirit, or help knowing the scriptures, or help, with your kids, or, whatever the case may be, help with anything, we have to vocalize it. We have to do our part within building that strong bond, because nobody knows, okay, hey, this sister, she's over here struggling. This sister, she really needs somebody in her corner. She really needs some support. She really needs XYZ. Nobody knows that unless you say something. That's in your marriage, that's in a friendship, that's in whatever the case may be. But we don't want to neglect the gathering together that the Most High has commanded us to do. Let me get that. This in Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1. It reads, gather yourselves together, yeah, gather together, O nation not desired. So the Lord is telling us to gather together. Gather together. He's not saying stay set apart, stay isolated, cry in the corner, just handle everything by yourself. No, that's not what the Most High has called for us to do. Even in the beginning, he had Adam and he had Eve. Because it's not good for man to be alone. It's not good for us in this flesh to be alone. The Most High already knew from before we even were thought of, from our parents, before we even came on the scene, way before even Moses and David and all of them came on the scene. The Most High knew from the very, very beginning that we need each other. We need to be a nation that can be able to be around each other, to have bonds with certain people, to be able to help our mental health, our physical health, and be able to handle times of stress. Because in this life, in this flesh, we're gonna go through stressful times. Different changes in your life. You might lose somebody. You might, going through birth or postpartum, different trials with your children, trials within your marriage. You need people. People need people. Even when you see, I don't know if any sisters like true crime or anything like that, but even when you see when people are locked up and they're in isolation, and they just be in the cell 23 hours a day. But them people, that works on their mental. Them people be crazy. Those people be crazy. They're not seeing anybody. They're not seeing anybody. They're not bonding with anybody. They're just in the box, just in there with their thoughts, with them spirits, with them demons, just working on their mind. And eventually, some of them people, they end up kicking the can, unaliving themselves. Because it's just too much. It's too much on the mental. It's too much isolation. It's too much loneliness. It's too much. So, reading on with this article, it says, furthermore, building strong bonds with others can enhance our overall quality of life. Sharing experiences, laughter, and even challenges with loved ones can create lasting memories and deepen our connections. These shared moments contribute to a sense of fulfillment and joy that enriches our lives in meaningful ways. So, these things are beautiful things that we can experience in this life, especially, in this truth, we're living a whole different life than other people are living. All praise to the Most High, but it's also not a cakewalk. It's not easy. We're fighting a spiritual war. So we got to make sure that we're not defrauding ourselves of the joy and the laughter and the strong bonds and the togetherness and sense of belonging that the Most High has called for us to be able to share. Being able to, you know, call on a sister, hey, I'm going through XYZ, that and she can be like, dang, I done been through that. Or dang, maybe you look at it like this, you know, going back to, what the article said, it says having someone to confide in during times of stress or difficulty can provide much needed comfort and perspective. Imagine you just going through something whole time. You don't want to tell nobody. Oh, I'm gonna just deal with it on my own. Oh, I don't got nobody because you didn't put the time or the patience or the work in to try to build something with, your husband, your sister, whatever the case may be. Somebody to confide in. That's obviously of a sound mind, keeping commandments, hopefully, Lord willing, so that you can have that much needed comfort and perspective because we don't know everything. We don't know everything, and especially when you're going through those times of stress, hard times, difficulty, spiritual roadblocks, whatever the case may be, our minds can very much get blinded, especially, as women, emotional, we thinking about, how we feel, how we thought, all that type of stuff. Sometimes we don't see the bigger picture. Sometimes we don't consider the other person's perspective in a conflict, or sometimes, we just need just a general perspective, a different way to look at things. How can this help me to grow? How can this benefit me? What can I do better? How can I change the situation? How can I reconcile? How can I, whatever the case may be? So we want to make sure that we're not closing ourselves off from that, because a lot of the times sisters are just like, okay, well, you know I got my husband, it is what it is now. I got me my man, I got me my children. It's just gonna be, I just do what I do, clean up, take care of the children, go to work, whatever the case may be, and I just go home and I'm just here. No, it's more to life than that. The Most High, He built, other sisters around us to be able to build with, grow a bond with, help get different perspectives from, maybe get counsel from, and help to grow one another in the spirit, because you never know. Nobody has it all 100% together. Nobody's the perfect wife. Nobody's the perfect mother. It's always something to be learned from, sisters around us. It's always something to be learned from our husbands. We have to make sure that we're trying to build that strong bond, not just, oh, well, it is what it is. Well, we're married now. It is, we just husband and wife. There's no need to, you know, lean on for the spiritual things, the physical things, all the things. We got to consider these things. So, reading on, it says, in conclusion, the bonds we form with others are essential for our well being and happiness. By nurturing these connections through communication, empathy, and mutual support, we can cultivate relationships that bring out the best in ourselves and those around us. Because again, it's not always about what we get from a relationship, too. It's not a me thing. Okay, what can I get from this person? How can they help me? How can they build me up? How can they give me counsel on this? How can they give me perspective on that? How can they comfort me? It's also what we give to others. Because again, even when we read the scriptures, we're always referred to as trees, wheat, and all these things, all these agricultural things, because we are supposed to be producing fruit, good fruit. Because if we're producing bad fruit, we know that, even how should I say, hey, roughly paraphrasing, this tree isn't bringing forth good fruit, cut it down. If we don't want to get cut down, we want to be able to produce fruit. And when you think about it like this, I know some of us might grew up in the country, might have, grandma, auntie, neighbor had a fruit tree in their house, and go over there, pick off the orange, pick off the apple, whatever. and you benefit from that tree. It's the same thing in the spirit. We should be able to have people be able to pick from our fruit, to benefit from the things that we're producing in our lives. Being able to, have people to receive that love from us, to receive peace from us, to receive long suffering, goodness, gentleness, all these things, the Spirit of the Most High from us. And that's something that we got to constantly reflect on, speaking for myself as well. And, just like even seeds, let's get that, because even Paul, he referred to agricultural metaphors when talking to the church at Corinth. It reads this is First Corinthians 3, and I'm gonna start at verse I'm gonna start at 6. It reads, I have planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase. So then neither is he that planteth anything, neither he that watereth, but God that giveth the increase. Now he that planteth and he that watereth are one, and every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor. So we're all going to be measured on what work we put in this truth. Do we put in work to create these strong bonds, to strengthen these bonds, to make sure that we have good fruit that other people can produce, and that we're nurturing these relationships so that we can also benefit as well from other people's fruit. And in this account, you see, there is, people in Corinth are like, oh, I'm of Paul. And then you got some other people over here like, oh, I'm of Apollos. And then Paul basically saying like, this is carnal. This is carnal. Y'all not of me or them, okay? And in another sense, you could think of it like, okay, well, we're over here, we're the servants, or we're over here, we're this congregation, or oh, I got this marriage, this sister over here, and we got that and that over there. And no, everything is of the Most High. We're just workers. We're nobody's bigger than the program. We're all laborers together with the Most High. So it's it might be this sister. Okay, she over here planting this, and then another sister comes and she's watering that, and all those things are just us putting in our work, and it's not something, again, like we are saying before, not something to compare. There's nothing to compare. All things take time, and ultimately the Most High gives the increase. So if we're wanting these strong sisterhoods, these strong bonds, a best friends thing, a really good marriage, whatever the case may be, we have to make sure that we are knowing that the Most High gives the increase at the end of the day. But we still have to do our part in nurturing these bonds, just like the Most High nurtures us day after day, nurtures us with the good words, the words of life, the law, statutes, commandments, the breath in our body, health, good things that we receive from the Most High, these blessings. It's the same thing. We got to make sure that, just like these seeds, it's just like these people. It's people as well, just trying to learn that, we need each other because we're destroyed people. A lot of times, especially in the world, people, they like to be on their lonesome a lot of the time. They like to just be like, well, I got to figure it out. I'm not saying it's everybody, but, a lot of the times people, they might be moved from trauma, hurt. Oh, this person hurt me. Well, I just don't need to be around nobody or this, that, whatever the case may be. But even on another tip, people that are just now learning that, they're Israelites, and, they're just coming into this walk, or you might have family member might be telling about the truth, but they still can't get right. We got to be willing to still deal with them, have discernment, of course, but still deal with them, still nurture them, and, just pray for them and pray that the Most High gives that increase. Because you don't planted that seed. Hey, we Israel, we got to keep all such commandments. You can't be eating that. We can't be acting like that. That's not God. Da, da, da. And then step back and be like, hey, I'm gonna pray for them. I'm gonna pray that the Most High He increases that seed. I'm gonna pray that the Most High increases this bond. I'm gonna pray that the Most High increases my marriage, whatever the case may be, so that we all, as a nation, can have the bonds that we need to be able to increase our well-being and our happiness in this truth as much as possible. Because again, this walk is not easy. I'm sure that everybody can attest to that. This walk is not even close to being easy. So how much more having that support, having that, empathy, that communication, constant, uplifting one another, exhorting one another, provoking one another to good works and to love. Let me get that in Hebrews 10. This is Hebrews 10 and verse 24. It reads, "And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as ye see the day approaching." So we see the day approaching. We see the prophecies coming to pass. We see the wars going on in the Middle East. We're in war right now. We got the economy's collapsing. We got famine, pestilence coming on the earth. All these things are not going away. They're not just gonna magically poof away because we pray and well we still got some stuff we want to do, or dang I'm scared. But what about my children, Lord? What about me and this and that? We're comfortable here. No. Life is gonna continue to happen, things are gonna continue to happen, trials, tribulations are gonna arise, but we gotta make sure that we're willing to have these strong bonds again for our mental health, our physical health, to improve our overall quality of life. Because, yes, this walk is hard, but the Most High didn't call us to just be stressed, depressed, and just alone and just sad. That's not fun. That's not what the Most High intends for His chosen people. It's just not. And we don't want to, Lord forbid, not nurture these relationships that the Most High has placed in our lives. Um, and now that it's all said and done, now Lord forbid, it can happen though. It has happened. You know, People don't strengthen the bonds that the Most High blessed them with, placing their lives, and now, they caught out there. Lord forbid, going back into the world. You couldn't endure because you had nobody to cast them burdens on, or you didn't want to produce good fruit that other people can benefit from. You didn't want to take away from the fruit somebody else trying to give you to help you in your walk, to help improve you, to give you empathy for what you're going through, for you to give empathy to others. And now it's just all for naught. That's another way that we put in our brick too. Bring out the best in others as well as ourselves. Because that's what it's all about, increasing. We should want everybody to increase in Israel. We should want that because if you're not increasing, you're stagnant. You lukewarm, or you're decreasing and getting worse. So let me get this in Sirach 12 and 3, 13. So I can, because I want to shift gears a little bit. So I want Sirach 13 and 16, because just kind of closing it up, but who we surround ourselves with heavily, heavily, heavily impacts us in our walk with the Most High. And this is a precept kind of laying back off of that. This is Sirach 13 in verse, I'm going to start at 15 actually. It reads, "Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. All flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like." So we got to keep this in mind too. Who we surround ourselves with is, even in the world, they say people are a product of their environment. If you're constantly around people who, let's say, don't, I'm trying to think how I want to word this. Okay. Let me give an example. Okay. So you might be, well, not y'all, but There might be a sister that, she used to be alone, whatever the case may be, and then she starts getting around other people. Okay, say she just joined the congregation. She just joined the congregation and they they like to drink Dr. Pepper. I'm just throwing out something random, but they like to drink Dr. Pepper. This sister, she never liked to drink soda. She was always just like a water and tea kind of person. But now she's joined this congregation. She then got close to this sister. She's drinking Dr. Pepper all the time. And now, next thing you know, she's starting to drink Dr. Pepper all the time. Never liked it, never subscribed to it, but now they're drinking Dr. Pepper. And that's just on a very, very small tip, but those small things add up as well. Even on another tip, you might have a sister, she didn't believe in, you know, keeping, Lord forbid, the lunar Sabbath. She didn't believe in keeping the lunar Sabbath, but now that she hanging around Sister Angelica, I don't know. Now Angelica, she keep the lunar Sabbath, lunar moon, whatever the case is, and now she keeping the lunar moon just off the strength. Now, granted, that's not always the case, but just throwing it out there, the company that you keep impacts a lot. The way that people think, those people being around you all the times, even in a marriage, you might, I don't know, your spouse might really like tacos. I don't know. You never really liked Mexican food like that. Y'all get together. Now you starting, dang, when we gonna get some taco? You want to do Taco Tuesday? Let's do it. All that type of stuff. Your flesh can sort to its like. And the company you keep heavily impacts your walk with the Most High. So we have to make sure that we're surrounding ourselves with, righteous people, making sure that, you know, we're being mindful and, circumspect of different spirits that people are operating in, different things that they do, different ways and attitudes that they work with, because those spirits can hop very well. And you don't even know it. You just, next thing you know, like, dang, I'm starting to kind of talk like this person. I'm starting to kind of like say little mannerisms that they used to say and little, jokes and this and that. Like it'd be on a small level, but that's just how it can impact. And it could be positive for sure, but it could also be negative. So we just want to be mindful of that. Let me get this in Romans 15 and verse 5. It reads, now the God of patience and consolation grant you to be like-minded one toward another according to Hamashiach Yahushai. So I'm gonna get 6 too. That ye may with one mind and one mouth glorify God, even the Father of our Lord Yahushua Hamashiach. So we want to make sure that we have this in our forefront of our minds, that the Most High, He's a God of patience and consolation. He wants us to be able to have patience possess our souls as well, to have that consolation, knowing that I'm not alone in this thing. I don't have to carry it all by myself. I don't have to, be everything for everyone and this and that, and no. I can cast my burdens on my husband. I can cast my burdens on my sisters. I got people that I trust. I can confide in. I can get counsel from. I can get a different perspective from, whatever the case may be. That's that consolation. That's peace. That's, that burden being lifted off your shoulder. Casting your burdens one to another, like it says in Galatians 6. But we want to make sure that, the people we're around as well, like it says in verse 6, that we be with one mind and one mouth, glorifying the Most High, because that's what the walk is about at the end of the day. We want everything about our being, the way we move, the way we speak, we want all of those things to glorify the Most High at the end of the day. And we want our strong bonds to reflect, us glorifying the Most High again as well. Because if you have a really strong bond with somebody in the world, I mean, that's not glorifying the Most High. You got a strong bond with somebody, but that strong bond you got with them, it's in wickedness. It's in talking bad about people, backbiting. It's about, smoking and getting drunk, or, immodesty, or, adultery, or, whatever the case may be. That's not glorifying the Most High. that's going to be detrimental to our quality of life, which we know is supposed to be this truth. So let me get this closing precept. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, and verse 19. It reads, and this is in red letters. Let me how shy. It says, "In your patience possess ye your souls." So we gotta let patience possess our souls. We have to. We have to be patient with ourselves and just tying it all up. Again, we can't compare what other people have going on. We have to be willing to be new women in this thing. Willing to learn how to heal. Healing takes time. Learn how to build a genuine, righteous relationship, connection, marriage, sisterhood, whatever the case is. We have to be willing to be patient and have patience possess our souls, knowing that all things take time, that the Most High gives the increase ultimately, and let the Most High guide us in every aspect of our lives, especially the bonds and the relationships that we're cultivating in this truth, in this walk, and with others that are just not coming in this walk. Forming new and different relationships with people, in our family that might not be in this thing, because we are truly different people. But Lord willing, this was helpful and edifying. If any sisters had anything, feel free to bring it out. If not, I'm going to bid y'all mighty shalom. And again, don't forget that I was just lost my train of thought. Yeah, don't forget that these are recorded and posted on my YouTube channel. So if you forgot a precept, need to, just get a reminder, refresher through the spirit, whatever the case is, you can always find it on the YouTube. Now that I've figured this thing out, I'll praise my God. So, yeah, with that, I'm going to give all honor, glory, praise to the Most High. Call you, how about you now, Shy? Lord and sisters, have a beautiful, blessed Sabbath through the Spirit. And had a beautiful new moon through the Spirit as well. And come on, shalom.